Welcome, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Thumbs up, Laura? Okay. All right. I'm gonna see if we can get we're here live from Callison, RTKL, and I think we're just gonna get somebody set up here in front of the video. So as we get that set up on our end, thank you for your patience. We might have had a little hiccup here and there with our IT, but we're excited to be doing a hybrid event tonight for this amazing topic that we're talking about tonight: retail plus healthcare equals Medtail. We're really excited to be featuring One Medical tonight. And we are doing our first collab event with the Northern California chapter. So we're here, Callison in Seattle. We're the Pacific Northwest chapter. And then we're also here working with Laura and the board of the Northern California team. So this is really exciting for us to do a collaboration. First off, I want to have a big thank you to our generous sponsors tonight. Shaw Contract as our bronze level sponsor for this event. Thank you, Shaw. I know some of their product is actually in One Medical. Platinum level sponsor Callison RTKL, who is not only a sponsor but also hosting us tonight. So thank you to Callison. And then our international sponsors, Planet Construction and TMS Lighting. All right, so first up, I'm gonna go through our agenda and what to expect tonight. We're gonna start off with some board introductions. Doing this combined event, we really wanted to feature and highlight who is on the board for each chapter, so you know who to reach out to and contact. And we want to talk a little bit about RDI mentorship and sponsorship, of course. And then we'll have our One Medical presentation with Laura, followed by Q&A. So please do think of great questions to ask Laura as she's giving the presentation. We will open it up for Q&A, followed by a fun raffle prize, and we'll do our wrap up. We are going to have an opportunity for some networking at the end. If you want to stay on, we're going to leave the line open and give you some prompting questions for some networking time. And then we'll also here live at the Callison office, we'll have networking time here in person. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Lucy and Laura.
Hi, can everybody hear me? That's mostly for people on Zoom. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I want to welcome everyone again. Thank you, Toby, for the introduction. My name is Lucy Baracchio. I am the president of the RDI Pacific Northwest chapter, and I am also a principal here at Callison RTKL Seattle. We're very happy to be hosting our in-person gathering here today. Please bear with us as we are sorting out the technology around hybrid events. I think we're doing a really great job, and I want to first shout out to Keelan and Rodrigo, our tech guys, for making today happen. So thank you. I do want to also introduce you to our board members, and what you see on screen is everyone from both the Pacific Northwest and the Northern California chapters. So we're not going to go and introduce everyone, but connect the visuals with people who are here. If you have questions about membership, some of us from the Pacific Northwest board are here in the room. Raise your hand if you're here. There you go. There you go. If anyone who is not a member yet of the Retail Design Institute, please check in with one of us and find out why it's so cool to be part of the gang. So you'll see that we have an open space here at the bottom from the Northern California team, and I'm going to let Laura talk about that in a second. But you'll see that we have officers and committee members on our chapter here. We do still have room for additional help, and the team is growing and it's amazing. So if you're interested in joining us, we would love to have you. And then Toby's going to talk a little bit about the membership benefits as well. I do want to also say that we are trying to do more in-person events as the year goes on, now that people are coming back out into public spaces, but we will also try to keep a hybrid aspect to this. as we go forward, because we do know a lot of people are potentially also calling in on the Zoom line from other areas of the country, and sometimes they call in internationally. So if you're not on the West Coast time zone, thank you for joining us. We are happy to have you this evening. Sorry you're not here to have wine with us, but please go grab a drink wherever you are and enjoy the presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to Laura. She is the president of the Northern California chapter and can talk about what they're up to there.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Harsh. I'm the president of the NorCal Retail Design Institute. I'm happy to be here. So thrilled to be doing this combined event tonight, and it's actually really helpful for us because we are a new chapter. We are actually still just city center, and so we are growing and looking for members and looking for folks who are eager to get involved and want to join the board. We have a few slots available still. Actually, I say a few, but we have quite a few slots still available. One big one being the vice president position. So love to talk to folks if they are interested in getting involved in Retail Design Institute. The Bay Area has a ton to offer, and we're excited to bring it to everyone. So, Toby, I'm going to hand it off to you.
All right, I think we actually are with Lucy next.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about events next. I apologize.
So this is a timeline of our upcoming events here in the Pacific Northwest, and you'll see today it's highlighted there, our Medtail event, and I'm sure you all just learned what Medtail means because whoa, what was that? Is that me? Okay, so next month we have one of our flagship events, and we'll hear a little bit more about that at the end of tonight's event, but please mark your calendars, April 21. This is the Emerging Designers event. This is great for students and people just starting out in their design careers. It is a portfolio review, and students can present their work and also just meet people in the industry. So we're looking for some support in terms of mentorship as well. So I know some of you have participated in previous years. We'd love to have you back, and you'll hear a bit more about that from Bob later on tonight. And then, big news, in May, we are planning an event with the Kraken team. That's our new hockey team, if people are not aware. And Climate Pledge Arena is where they play, and we're hoping that we can do a tour of the arena and have some involvement with the Kraken team. Obviously, a lot of it has to do with their sustainability practices, which are super exciting and also very much aligned with what our chapter would like to present. Primary topic for retail today. So stay tuned, please join us for these events. We can talk to you more about it later, and then I'll hand it over to Toby to talk more about membership.
All right, thank you, Lucy. Our slides will change. There we go. All right, so yes, I would love to talk to you about membership. So we have many different membership types and lots of opportunities at RDI, as the group was mentioning earlier, also opportunities to actually support on the board. In terms of membership, we offer everything from professional memberships through to trade, educator, and student memberships. So please log on to retaildesigninstitute.org to sign up for that, or feel free to reach out to any of us on the board. We'd be glad to help you with that and talk to you about all the amazing benefits of being a member. Sponsors, if there's any of you on the line, we'd love to talk to you about sponsorship opportunities, lots of great marketing opportunities to get your name out there, and lots of networking events and ways that we can feature your business and your products through our presentation. So again, please reach out to any of us on the board about that. All right, and without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Lucy to kick off our presentation.
Great. I know this is kind of funny because I'm going to introduce Laura again, but a little bit more detail about Laura. She is a longtime retail expert. She's an NCIDQ certified interior designer with over 30 years of experience designing and developing branded environments. Over the course of her career, she's worked in and led teams to develop architectural interiors, visual merchandising and presentation standards. She has been involved in construction, procurement, graphic design, also has worked with both department stores, specialty retail, pop-ups, and more. So it's fascinating that she now currently leads the in-house design team at One Medical, which is a health organization. It's based in San Francisco. It's a nationwide primary care company that takes a very retail approach to store development, and developing and maintaining their brand integrity is paramount. So as you heard, Laura is also super active in the retail design community. She serves on the board of the New York chapter of Retail Design Institute, now the president of Northern California, also has worked on PAVE. So you're just a rock star in retail, Laura, and I think it's great that we have you here. And I'm going to kick off the presentation for you with a question. It's a bit of a lead-in to help you sort of frame up what is happening in this trend that we're calling Medtail. So we at Callison RTKL have had the great fortune to be partners with One Medical for a few years. Jeannie Kim is here. She is one of our lead designers, and she sort of helped formulate this question for me, for Laura. So this is as a design partner and also the architect of record for One Medical, we usually receive locations of the next project when it's time to do zoning research or test fitting. We've noticed that One Medical has been going into more and more retail spaces, and it seems like a trend. And there's a recent article from the New York Times that is speaking about this. So maybe you can speak about why One Medical, as well as other health and wellness organizations, are going into spaces that are traditionally considered retail.
Sure, be happy to. Thanks for the question. I think some of these trends have been coming on for a while. A lot of personal services have been coming into the retail sector for a while, and some that seemed might maybe a little unusual in the beginning, like teeth whitening, eyebrow threading, that sort of thing. But I look at those as almost a gateway to some of the other brands that have been able to come in as a result of customers really not feeling so self-conscious, I guess, about going into areas like that and seeking personal care. One of the trends that we see that has been happening for a while now, and probably since about 2017, is the evolving retail models based on the vacancies that are happening. We've all seen the empty storefronts. Some of the highest vacancy rates that we've seen in decades, lots of bankruptcies that pretty much started in 2017. A lot of that has led to a shrinking landscape, a lot of apparel retailers that have gone out and left a lot of open spaces. A lot of what we call bricks and clicks. If you think of brands maybe like Bonobos, similar to that, they may have started on the purely online, but they have moved into brick, but they're a much smaller footprint because they don't have inventory. So that leaves a lot more vacancy as well. We've got ghost kitchens, dark stores, things like that we've all seen as a part of COVID. All of these are leading to a lot more vacancies within the shopping centers and typical retail areas. Another trend that we're seeing is, convenience. And I hate to call that a trend because customers have always wanted convenience, but I do think that particularly because of COVID, that has really stepped up. And, as it pertains to healthcare, when you think about when you go to your doctor, typically, if these blue dots on the map are indicating hospitals, doctors and the things affiliated with them are usually clustered around that for the ease of the health system partners and not necessarily the patient or the customer. And, if you live near those, that's great. It's very convenient and easy to get to. But, what if you work over here or live in some of these other places and, you're not near the health system partners, you're not near the hospitals, you're not near the doctors, so that convenience factor is lost. But what is up near all of that is all retail. Retail is everywhere. It's in the malls, it's in the streetscapes. So if we can be closer to where the retail is, then that makes it more convenient for our patients, means they're going to seek healthcare more readily. Some of the challenges, come on, screen. Here we go. Some of the challenges that we do run up against, though, in going to retail locations are, there still seems to be kind of a stigma against healthcare being in retail, and whether that's zoning laws that have been on the books forever and really are just very focused on retail or food and beverage. They don't really see how healthcare or health and wellness can be a benefit to the area, and they're just sort of entrenched in that old mindset. Landlords have a lot of trouble with it because we're sort of an unknown category for them. If they're a retail landlord, they really understand that. They understand home goods and hard goods versus soft lines and all of that. But when it comes to health and wellness, they're a little bit in the dark, and they tend, they'll cluster us together at the end of the mall. They will, just not give us good space, or they will put us, not talk to us at all, actually. And where things like that might actually work well to be clustered together if you're apparel, or if you're brands that focus on teen apparel or something like that, it's great to all be clustered together because you get all the customers. But when you're an appointment-based type of business, doesn't make much sense because you're not really getting the foot traffic. We have issues still with community boards really not understanding us. Often community boards are older residents. They've been in the neighborhood for a long time. They're a little trepidatious that the value of their home might go down if it's not retail or food and beverage that's nearby. So just trying to get them to understand. And then the other things are like finding vendors that really understand that we are more of like a retail rollout kind of business. They often will look at us as healthcare and think hospital. Plan expediters, permit expediters will look at us and think like, oh, it has to go to the health department. That's not necessarily the case. Vendors will think, oh, you're healthcare, so you need clinical grade furniture and things that are not necessarily what we want. We want things that feel more like hospitality and like what you would have in your home and feel comfortable. So how do we change the perception of what health and wellness is so that we can more easily get into retail locations and really show that we are a benefit? We have to fight the perception that we are just bleak street killers, to the community boards. We have to, get people to understand that we are fast paced, and it's not going to take us a long time if the landlord wants us in their space, that we're not going to take an extraordinarily long time to get in there. And some of the ways that we change that perception are by really changing, providing spaces that are welcoming, that are comfortable, that are exciting, and that activate the street, bring a steady stream of customers, buy all the other retail and food and beverages, and realize that we're going to make all boats rise by coming. So you've seen some of other healthcares. One Medical is not alone in this. There are quite a few others that are coming into this realm, and you can see by looking at Tend, Tia, Kindbody, or just to name a few, they look great, and they're really raising the bar on what healthcare is. And it's not just in looks, it's customer service. But the company that I'm here to talk to you today about is One Medical. So just want to give you a little insight into how we're doing it. So when we think about One Medical, in case you're not aware of who we are a mission-driven, membership-based primary care. We have about 125 locations. We're nationwide. Our members travel all across the US, so they love being able to access medical care anywhere that they go. They can go to any of our locations. They don't have to be stranded to just one doctor's office. We're very tech-driven. We are not urgent care, so it's not like we have a lot of really ill people coming into our offices. Generally, if people coming into our offices, they are healthy and they're wanting to maintain that health, so they're coming in for regular visits. Again, we're very tech-driven. About 45% of our members access our digital services every month. That's really high to have almost half of your population do that. We also have a net promoter score of over 90, which, if you're familiar with Net Promoter Scores, it's the how well everyone likes you, like your customer base. And to give you an example of others, if anything over 70 is sort of considered best of the best. Costco is 87, and I think was ranked the highest retailer, the retailer with the highest API.
Hey, Laura, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry to interrupt you, but your slides aren't changing. So we're seeing changing. There we go.
It got stuck.
So sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm glad you did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one keyboard working and the other one not, so I appreciate that. So back to where we were. So the NPS score, some of the other retailers, just to give you an idea, our NPS is about 90, and like Apple is 85. Costco was the #1 retailer at 87. So we're beating all of those. And to give you, Nike is 30, Chipotle is 49. And the landlords that know us are seeking us out because of how much our members love us and how engaged they are in obtaining better health and good health. And that brings people to where we are. So the way that we approach it from a One Medical standpoint, because we don't want to feel like a cookie cutter rollout, we really still want to have our patients feel like, our members feel like they are experiencing a very unique and local office design. So we have based our designs on mind, body, and spirit. As you can see here, they're all a little bit different. And the main thing is that we're just trying to make sure that they're comfortable and it's easy. And we go for that over the uniformity and cleanability, which you would find in like most hospitals or other doctors' offices. All of our offices are very clean. Everything is bleach cleanable, but we are able to work with our vendors to make everything more unique, which I think is something that our members really love about us. So getting into the different themes, here we have Mind. So Mind is more neo-traditional. It's the most traditional one that we have, but I tend to call it like traditional with a twist. It's familiar, but it's still a little bit unexpected when you go in. We have got the color blocking. We've got furnishings in there that might be a little bit more contemporary, but they still have a nod to traditional accents. We tend to use this theme when we're in more of a residential neighborhood, an area that might have a little bit more history to it or something, that we bring this in, so it just accentuates that of the neighborhood. I'm going to show you a little video of one that we have. This is an office, a Mind office that we have in Seattle in the Capitol Hill area. Just a little walkthrough. So here you can see the judges paneling, the more traditional wall covering sort of thing, but bringing in the pops of contemporary accents with the lighting. The colors are nice and soothing, and you'll see the colors kind of go through all of the themes as we do this. The next one is Body. So Body is probably our most contemporary one of all of them. And I use that term loosely because it's actually very easy and approachable contemporary. We tend to use this one when we go into buildings that are brand new. A lot of the new mixed-use buildings are beautiful on the outside, but inside they just have no character at all. So it's kind of hard to draw anything from that. So we build in some of the character. We add in some of the heft or the structure to it to give it body. It tends to have more faceted soffits, that sort of thing, to create some different zones within the lobby. I'll show you a video, one that we have that is under construction now in North Carolina, in Cary at Fenton. And you can see how it's a bit different. We've got the soffit that we're building in overhead. That whole soffit, by the way, is actually, it looks like wood, but it's all acoustic, PET. which is great. It's just printed to look like wood. And, you know, acoustics are obviously a big factor and a big concern within a healthcare environment. We want to make sure that there's no patient information that's being inadvertently shared. So even though we try to make all of the lobbies very comfortable and it feels very residential, it's still a doctor's office, and we need to be cognizant of things that we're bringing into that. The next is Spirit. So Spirit, our third concept, is the one that we tend to use when we have more windows. And we do that because it has more of an airy feel to it. We use a lot of screens. We play with light by using those screens. It just gives a little bit more interest. The colors are toned down a little bit more. It's more, the accents come more from the wood. Here you can see a storefront of one that we did in Century City. All of these, we've added some storefronts, and we have one for each theme, but you know, it just gives a little bit different play. It's a very almost Scandinavian kind of feel in many ways. And I will show you one that we're working on that we're very excited about. And this one is in Houston. The building is actually an old water reservoir. Like the building itself literally held the water. So very tall ceilings. I think it's like 22 feet high ceilings. It's got a live roof, green roof on the top. The walls actually, you can't see it in this rendering, but it does have like water staining on the sides, which is really interesting. So we were trying to still evoke some of the history of the building, making it feel very water with the wall covering, with the undulating use of the Fortina along the wall. This just shows a bit of the lab station that we have in the hall. It's just a great feeling. So, you know, we try to make sure that all of our lobbies are very open, that we have a few different seating areas for folks to choose where they'd like to sit. We always, you see there, have like a cozy chair. We always are looking to have a spot where the patient can go and just feel comfortable. You know, you want a wing chair. If you're not feeling great, you can kind of sequester yourself over there. But these are just giving you some examples of some of the projects that we're working on. You know, we're super excited to be able to bring these and to have these in retail environments. Coming from a retail background, for me and my, like 95% of my team is retail. We love being able to bring the customer service side of healthcare to retail. I always joke with my team that I'm never going to stop calling the reception desk the cash wrap, because it will always be a cash wrap in my mind because I'm just too ingrained with retail. But you know, we're excited to do it. We love how the environment is changing and more folks like us are coming into the arena. We think all that's going to do is really just make all boats rise. Like when you're going out for your lunch with your girlfriends during the day, and you know that you can just book a quick little visit with a doctor and get your flu shot taken care of or something, and then go on to lunch and then go on shopping. I think, why not do that? You know, if you're able to work healthcare into your daily life and actually make the retail environments more inviting and more engaging and have more to offer, I think it's kind of just a win-win for everybody. It's a win for us, it's a win for the developers, and I think it's a great win for the community. So I'm really happy to see this happening. So that's it for my little presentation right now. And
thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go back to sharing my screen. All right, so we're going to open it up to Q&A. I think I saw.
Oh no. Oh God, I was like, our Wi-Fi.
It's like the cable. Oh, we can hear you now.
Did we lose Toby?
There she is.
Well, while she's doing that, I see one question in here from Paul. Or can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've got a question here from Paul. How does One Medical balance the need to open a new location quickly with the time required to design such amazing spaces? That's a good question, Paul. It can be a challenging one, at least in the beginning when we were trying to figure out what our concept was going to be. Our One Medical, before the team came on about 4 years ago, most of the One Medicals were very one-off, and they were their own special little unicorns, and each one was done completely uniquely for whatever environment it was in. We love that. Our members love that. We really wanted to be able to maintain that kind of feel as we expanded, but we knew that we would not be able to do that and roll out quickly. So that's why we came up with the 3 themes. So the lobbies, we've, the fabrics, the furniture, the finishes pretty much run through all 3 themes. It's just that we determine the shape of it by the location that we're going to. And the space itself sort of dictates which theme. Now, once you get behind the lobby, most of the back of house is pretty much the same. So from office to office, the exam rooms are the same, the phlebotomy is the same, the break room is the same. And when I say same, it's obviously different sizes and shapes, but the finishes are the same, the millwork is the same. So what we're able to do with that is work with our vendors, do stock commitment orders with our finish vendors, with our flooring, with wall covering, with Fortina, which are the slats that we have in there. Place stock commitment orders with our millwork vendor. So, we're not getting different millwork every single time because it's a local guy. We have the same thing for each location. So we know exactly what we're getting. We know exactly what will fit. And so we're able to save a lot of time with that. I think the other thing that helps save time is what I mentioned earlier about the knowing your vendors and your consultants. Once they really understand your program and working with a vendor that you can teach your program to, then they really start to realize that this is a retail rollout, and they start looking for all the ways that you can get value of scale and speed it up, and making your CDs more prototypical and just speeding it up that way. Looking for ways that you can work with permit expediters so that you can work with the cities so that the cities really understand that you're not a hospital because you're sort of an unknown to them. One of the things we do is we, in our phlebotomy, we call it a large consult instead of a phlebotomy, because just any mention of blood or phleb to a building department often triggers in their mind, like, oh, it has to go to the health department. And we're not performing anything in our offices, any procedures that require that we go to a health department for that sort of review. We don't have to do OSHPOD. We don't have to do any of that. So we really, it was a couple of years of us really like massaging and getting it right to be able to make it go as quickly as we do now. But now we are typical retail. It's like 12-week build time. Permits are going to be what permits are going to be. Sometimes they're fast and sometimes they aren't. But the design is the same process every time.
Awesome. I think I'm back online, Laura.
Okay, great.
I haven't seen any new questions come in the chat, but or maybe I did. Oh, wait, here we go. Beautiful looking spaces. Love your detailing, Laura. How do you approach the specification of the artwork and VM pieces? Is it site by site, like water theme, or mostly a library of options that you draw from?
Great. I see that's from James. Thanks, James. It is, initially we started out doing it site by site, but you can't maintain that, not with the staff that we have. I have an amazing staff and they're so talented, but the number of offices that we're doing right now, it just really requires that you have to make it more of a catalog. So we've worked with a local furniture vendor here in town, and this is something that I've never had to do with retail before because we have so much furniture, is I'm working with a furniture vendor. So they are doing all of the procuring of the furniture pieces, working directly with all the different like Kielhauer or HBF or any of the different furniture vendors, getting their discount. We're able to place stock commitment orders, that kind of thing with them. And then through them, we have found an art dealer in town who has put together a catalog for us. And we have come up with a catalog, sort of a suite of art that we do for each theme. And we have art for the consult rooms and those sorts of things. So we've developed it ahead of time, but we have enough in the mix that we can, mix it up a little bit, and it doesn't have to feel cookie cutter, but we're not starting from scratch every time.
Awesome. I'm being told there's another question that I missed. But in the meantime, I have a question. So you showed a lot of beautiful images of the lobby spaces and all of that. Have you guys changed anything in terms of conventional design elements or anything like that in the actual exam rooms themselves?
We did, since, we're trying to make this feel residential, but it has to function like healthcare. We are still a clinical setting, so there's a lot of things that we needed to tweak a little bit. The nice thing is because we are doing this like a retail rollout, we're able to get the quantities and work with vendors to do that. So for instance, in our exam rooms, we have the patient chair, but it's not just a chair, it's more like a settee. And we worked with Blue Dot actually to do a custom piece for us that is, it's a riff on one of their lounge chairs that they have, but we've worked with them to make it custom for the width that we needed, which was like 42 inches. The arms had to be a particular height because your arm has to be level to the floor when you're getting your blood pressure taken. And it has to be at the seat has to be at a certain level. So your thighs are parallel to the ground. There's all sorts of things like that you wouldn't necessarily think are a requirement, but that we were able to work with this vendor to have them do something custom for us like that. So it still looks residential. It looks like something you want in your house, but it's functioning in a very clinical way. And if you were to go to most healthcare vendors, they would have a settee, but it would look like something that would need to be in a hospital. So we've gone out of our way to tweak things that are more residential or hospitality in feel, just to make them work for us for a clinical need.
That's great. That's awesome. Okay, we have a question in from Paula. There's abundant research and practice in the lighting fields as it relates to health and wellness. Are you tapping into this in your Medtail facilities?
To some degree, it's one of the areas that I would really love for us to look a little further and develop more fully. I think the past few years have really been us just trying to get it to a point where it can be this residential feeling, but really working for the clinical needs that we have. Lighting is one of sort of the next thing on the list. We do have lighting controls. We utilize Lutron. So all of the exam rooms do have dimmable features. They have presets. So the provider can, if they know that they have a patient coming in that they've worked with before that might have some anxiety, they can preset the lighting in the room. We do have different presets throughout the office that they can utilize. In the lobby, we use a lot of decorative lighting in addition to the LED, just again to make it feel a little bit more comfortable and not so sterile. There's nothing worse than going into a doctor's office and it's just like a bunch of 2x2s or a bunch of like old fluorescents, and it's probably still some T8s out there or T12s out there even that are probably humming somewhere in the corner, rattling. So we take great pride in trying to come up with a lighting scheme that is comfortable and can be completely customizable. Blanking on the word, yeah, customizable. Capital has really helped us a lot with that.
Perfect. All right, we have a couple more questions. This one is from Roy. So your presentation definitely shows a huge upgrade to the traditional clinical environment with a more hospitality boutique aesthetic sensibility. But do your clinics cater to different populations, i.e. pediatrics, geriatrics, et cetera?
We do. We see all ages, like cradle to grave. Most of our offices are adult practice or just our standard primary care, but about, I think, a third, verging on a half now also see pediatrics. And we have recently merged with another company called Iora that is all senior care. So if we're counting those, we've got about 170 offices all across the nation. And we can see patients from every range. So when you come into one of our offices, even if it's a pediatric office, it's not only peds, it's not only children. So you're not going to come in and see, the ubiquitous fish tank over in the corner with a couple of dead fish floating in it that are supposedly going to keep the kids entertained. The parents can come in with their kids. The kids can get their vaccinations. The parents can get theirs, see the doctor. Grandma can come with them and get her check-in too, or checkup. So we can see the whole family, which is such a convenience factor for our patients. And they love it, just being able to bring everyone in, not have to go to different offices, just not have to run all over town. It's great. And the way that we do the offices is we make sure that they can be completely flexible. So we have sort of a hybrid design. So like that settee that I was mentioning in the exam rooms, it's a settee, so it can be a single patient. It could be an elderly patient with their caregiver. It could be a new couple holding their baby. It's enough room for 2 people, or it could be a bariatric patient. So we can see a wide variety of people within that same setting. The offices are large enough and have enough clearance and circulation that you can come in with your stroller, or you could be in a wheelchair. So it's really flexible in that way, and we try to make them all that way. We want to see everyone, so we're going to make it that way.
All right, I think this is our last question here from Clayton. How do you plan location placement and coordination with other locations you've already opened in the same city? You mentioned not needing the foot traffic with appointment-based retail. What is the pitch to landlords when they're concerned you've opened a clinic in an adjacent neighborhood?
Oh my God, Clayton, it's like you're a plant. You've been planted in the audience. We don't have, we have foot traffic. It's a different type of foot traffic than, say, American Eagle. With us, because we're appointment-based, and with us and with a lot of the other health and wellness businesses that are coming into retail spaces, because we're so tech-driven and because we operate in a very different way where it's not fee-for-service necessarily. Most doctors, like, you're getting paid for the number of services that they give you, how many tests they can give you, that sort of thing. We are based more on the quality of the service. So the more you come in, the healthier you are, the better we do. So it behooves us to see you on time, to get you in on time. You're only waiting in the waiting room for like 5 minutes before your provider comes out and gets you. Then you have a very set time frame that that you're going to be in there. We can also then gauge how many people are coming and get all of those appointments and get them set up. So we know very well how many people are coming through our office every day and when they're coming through every day. Most doctors' offices, you sit for 40 minutes or something before you ever see the doctor, and then when you're done with it, you're late for work and you can't have lunch, you're just running back. But for us, because you can actually really guarantee when you're going to be seen and when you're going to see the doctor, you can then plan lunch around it. You can go shopping afterwards. You can do that sort of thing. And the difference between what we are with the appointment based is those people are coming to us and they have an appointment, so they're coming. And then because they know they're not going to be there all day, they can plan the rest of the day. With American Eagle, maybe they're coming, maybe they're not. Are you having a sale? You know, you don't know. Are those just some bored kids that are coming to the mall who, you know, they're not really coming to the mall anymore. So, but with us, because they have an appointment, it's guaranteed foot traffic coming in. It's just that most developers don't really understand that that foot traffic are generally healthy people that are coming in that can be shopping in their center. They just have the stigma in their head that it's urgent care or methadone clinic, or, you know, that it's just a bunch of sick people coming in. So it's a very different thing.
Yeah, Andre commented it's such a great system. It really does sound like the ideal way to run things. So, well, Laura, thank you so much. I think those are all of our questions. It's a perfect time for us to segue to our raffle.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, this raffle is for our online audience only. Those of you in our virtual audience here, we will have another raffle for you later.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Okay. So this is for a $50 gift card to a Nordstrom Spa, because we know that there's a Nordstrom Spa in both NorCal and in Seattle. So with that, Kate.
All right, I'll do the honors.
Drum roll.
And we have Aaron Karoff.
All right, is Aaron on?
Is Aaron online?
Is Aaron still on?
Hello, I'm here.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, all right.
Hi, Ben.
We'll email you the card later.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, congrats. All right.
Yay.
Next up, Bob. Introduce yourself, Bob.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bob Ustanik, and I'm the education chair for.
That's good.
Oh, didn't catch the marker. Like I was saying, my name is Bob Ustanik, and I'm the education chair for the Pacific Northwest chapter. And April is one of our favorite times of the year because we do our Emerging Designers event. And if you aren't familiar, this is our 4th annual, and it's basically where we invite students and mentors together to review portfolios, to talk about the industry, and basically get that connection for those students that often have a hard time getting in a room with a professional designer. So again, this year we will be doing it virtually. We hope to get it back in person maybe next year, but it does have its benefits. It makes it really easy for everyone to share their portfolios and any images, or maybe even their resume that you can go over. This will be happening on April 28th, and we'll be starting the Zoom call at 5 p.m. and going until 7:30 p.m. This is a longer event, but everyone that joins this call always gets so much out of it. It's not just a benefit for the students. A lot of people have said that it actually refreshes their view on design. So please join us. We'll be sharing the marketing soon, and also event registration. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, as we close out, I just want to say thank you again to Laura for that wonderful presentation. It was super interesting, beautiful spaces. And again, thank you so much to our sponsors. We did want to give you guys an opportunity for some networking, because that's one of the things we love about RDI. So for those of you that are going to stay on the line, we put together some prompts so that you guys could stay online and still chat amongst yourselves. Those that are in the live audience here, go ahead and pick a person you don't know, and you can follow the same prompts. So we have here, give your name, occupation, your RDI membership status, and then our other prompt is, give us one thing that really stood out to you about tonight's presentation. Aside from that, I just want to say thank you all for joining us, and we have some information here on how to get a hold of us if you need to reach out about membership or anything else. We've got both PAC Northwest and Northern California contact info here. So thanks again.
And I'll stay on for a bit if anybody has other questions. I'm just-
Perfect. Thank you.